Welcome back to the weekly reviews. My name's Woody. This is Wooden Spoon Data, and I'm here today with Kris. How you doing today, mate?
Hey guys, what's going on? Good to be back. Been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. I've been on a little bit of a hiatus myself. It's hard to do when it's just by yourself, mate. You lose the other person telling you to hurry up. We need to get this filmed.
Exactly. Where you
Um, but yeah, it's been a good week. I believe you got to see the first match of the round. Your beloved Bombers taking on Collingwood. How was it, mate?
Yeah, man, it's a good game to watch. Good to get the win live. It was great.
Yeah, it was one of
It,
those ones where I thought at halftime it might be a disappointing match to attend live, but you guys just came back.
at quarter time, it looked over. It looked like
Yeah,
Collingwood were just way too good, but yeah, somehow they found their gears.
it was a great one, great one. Yeah, let's get into it, mate. I suppose the basics of that match, we did have um, Crisp having his 230th game in a row. It's the second longest streak in VFL AFL history, and he kicked 3 goals from 4 disposals in 170 seconds. In that time, Essendon had no disposals. That was in that first quarter, as you said, where Collingwood were 5-2 to Essendon's 2-5. From there, it just kind of went Essendon's way. There's a little bit of a fight back in that last, but yeah,
There's
92 to 80. It was
It's
a
a
good
Collingwood
game, mate.
game. There's always a fight back.
That's it. That's it. Otherwise, those 3 goals from Crisp in that first quarter, there was two to Howe, two to Harrison, two to Kruger in the last, which nearly caught them back. But one to Mychek, who went off hurt with a pec injury, and one to Pendlebury and Schultz. Essendon had two to Langford. Right, Caddy only had the one, but he looked amazing. Missed a couple of shots though.
Absolutely
Singles,
huge second quarter.
massive, and a few big grabs towards the end in the last as well. So he did really well. Yeah, Cadwell, Draper, Dersma, Gresham, Guelphy, Jones, Merritt, and Stringer with individuals as well. So quite the spread there from the Bombers. I suppose, what was your takeaway, mate? What were you most happy with?
I was happy with the fight back, man. Like you said, at quarter time, it looked completely over, and like yeah, no one, like everyone played well. We had like huge game from Zach Merritt, and, like
Yeah,
Jai Coldwell, but no one really starred up forward. It was just a nice even spread.
yeah,
It was
definitely.
just a good win.
I guess it's for me. My favorite part of the game was probably actually Caddy. He just he looked like he was ready for it. He looked like he was the one you needed to stand up and kind of did at some really important moments. Yeah, don't think he comes out of the side again. I know you were a little bit worried, but
Nah, he shouldn't come out again. That's crazy. Like he gave us the spark we needed in the second quarter. Him and Draper, I thought.
yep, yeah, Draper was massive, especially without Goldie. So really did get on his bike there and put Darcy Cameron to a bit of a shame. But yeah, massive game, massive game.
Just
Collingwood a bit
just a
upset.
special shout out to Dylan Shield. Huge comeback game. Looks like
It
he's got it
was.
still.
It was, as a Saints fan, and as we had a few discussions late last year. I'm not the biggest Shield fan, but I do think he played a great game. So yeah, all power to him, and hopefully he keeps it up. I do think for Collingwood, as a little bit of a positive, Ned Long came on for Charlie Dean and looked fairly well uh, situated there. So might be somebody to pursue. Moving on to the next match, mate. It was North versus Suns. I didn't get a huge chance to watch this, and I'm very disappointed. But I heard you got to see the end. What was your takeaway?
I put the Port Dogs game on, think it would be the better game to watch, but then by half time I swapped it over. So
Yeah,
I caught the second half. It was a good game by North Melbourne. Good win. Like you see Damien Hardwick's press conference afterwards.
I did. He used a word we're not allowed to use in the first couple of minutes of recording. But
No,
yeah,
no,
mate.
it
It's
won't be repeated.
yeah, it's I mean, I get his point, but at the same time, this is the first year they've looked like a possible finals opportunity at the end of the year. So
You'd be pretty annoyed that you can like knock off anyone at home, absolutely anyone at home, and you go down to North Melbourne.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
And like,
Um,
it's a really big game to sort of like stamp themselves as we can go to Melbourne, we can win in Melbourne against a weak opposition, but still, it's the little confident booster you need that they just don't get now.
yeah, they just didn't get it done. I suppose if you look at if you, oh, I'm looking at the wrong one, but if you look at the X scores and things like that, it was one of those ones where you probably expected a little bit more from Gold Coast, and they just kind of didn't pull it out. Big big torp from Powell though. Did you see that? Powell from defensive, or just outside defensive 50, and gets it to about 40 out. That was a massive run on shield goal as well. So really entertaining stuff from them. And I'm disappointed that I missed it because I didn't think to check at all what was going on in the other game. So I was sitting there watching the Freo, oh, no, sorry, Port Bullies game, and it was, yeah, it was pretty boring. Moving on to that quickly, we yeah we kind of could have had better matches. Um, I, I mean, we had an interesting one from Port. They had the most by a trio in the opening quarter in terms of disposals. They had 45 between Connor Rosie, Zach Butters, and Ollie Wines. So really just jumped out of the gate, 5-2 to 0-2, kept it going 10-5 to 3-3. It never really stopped. There's, at the end of each match, the AFL does best ons, and it really went to Liberatore, Trelaw, Bont, and English. So pretty much their whole mid parades for the Bullies. And honestly, I don't reckon any of them were that good. So yeah, not one you'd want to be sitting in on Monday for watching the reviews. Um, you got to see the first half? Was that right, mate?
Yeah, and I completely agree. Like the Dogs, like Bontempelli's stats sheet sort of filled up towards the end, but like he didn't look on, and
No.
Liberatore was trying to fight more than he was trying to play.
Yep. I
They just all looked a
honestly,
little bit off.
they looked pathetic, and for me, it's really hard to determine what doggies you're gonna get week to week, and I I kind of come back to the same idea that I know we've passed this. This was something we were talking about in round nine, not round what 17 now, but um, that's a that's a coaching issue. Like generally, like if you're able to put away teams by near 100 points and then can barely scrape together a couple of goals the next game, that that's just a coaching issue. Um, like
I honestly think Liam Jones makes that big of a difference to their side. Like their back line is already weak. It's
yeah,
probably the weakest back line in the top sort of 10, 13 range.
yep,
And
yeah,
take Liam Jones out of that, that's useless. Like they've got nothing left. Like
yeah. I
Karmas
mean,
is a good player, but he doesn't replace him.
not at all. And that like they if they didn't, like, who would they be playing? Keith. Like if Keith is even not injured at the moment, but it's kind of one of those ones where there's just no. They haven't developed. Well, they're not playing Buslinger, so I don't know if they've developed their tall defensive stocks. Yeah, it's one of those ones. For
They're
me,
playing Rory Lobbs going down there.
it just doesn't make sense. So I think there's problems on the horizon for the Bulldogs. As much as they could be so good, and I think that's the thing we keep coming to with the Doggies. Yes, they're missing a couple of pillars that would make them an obviously hard to stop team, but I mean they shouldn't be this easy to walk over by a Port Adelaide side that barely scraped past and killed it the week before. So it's for me, it's coaching. Like it is a coaching problem, and there's kind of no solution, and unless
But
maybe it's personnel in some regards, but
but you say Port Adelaide struggled to get past St Kilda, then St Kilda just knocked off the premiership favourites. So it doesn't
there
really
is
tell you
that.
much. Such an even spread, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is an even, very even year. I think in terms of the game, though, you know, it's hard to take away much as a Bulldogs supporter, and I wouldn't be taking away a ton as a Port supporter either. Moving on to one that I for Media Watch,
The media, Kris?
I wanted to put and I'm just throwing this one out there quickly. Jesse Hogan, he took a mark with studs up in the forward line this match and didn't get reported, didn't get the Toby Green treatment. So I think it's for me, it's just more of the sort of same of we need consistency in the AFL. We need like obvious rules and
Did you did you see the rule little change proposals about the Darcy Moore knee in the back? Little
yeah, just again, you're gonna make more issues than not. If you're in a position where you take out a player instead of going for a ball, it should be a pretty bloody obvious free. It shouldn't
and I,
require us turning into saying, hey, your knee has to be X height and not hit X position. Like, it doesn't need
yeah,
to be that crazily defined. It just needs to be obvious decision making,
I
at least for
completely
me.
agree, and I don't think the Darcy like either of the two examples that were shown from the recent history. I don't think either of them should have been free kicks. They were just unfortunate accidents.
Yep. Yeah, agreed.
That being the
And
Petrarca incident and the Wits incident.
yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's the AFL just jumping at shadows, and they do it a fair bit. Um, but yeah, look, that's the kind of media watch for this week. AFL, just calm down a little bit. Let's get some consistency in the game. Stop just trying to make every little opportunity defined and then have outcomes for it. So let's let the game be the game. Moving on to who's that footballer now. Enjoy.
Who's that?
Footballer.
It's
Andrew Cracker.
Has Dale Thomas. Cracker! Oh boy!
Welcome back. That was Who's That Footballer. Let's get into the next match. It was Geelong Hawthorn. I noticed a few interesting little bits in this match. I saw bits and pieces, but not the whole thing. I've been moving, so trying to get stuff done. This was the most experienced subbed out of the match ever, with Patrick Dangerfield and Jack Gunston subbed out for 582 total games. The next match was 580 in 2013 with Dustin Fletcher and Luke McFarlane. So yeah, interesting little start there. Um, Otherwise, yeah, Hawthorn got it done. I think the lack of Sicily in defence probably didn't help. What was your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I completely agree. Geelong just looked too good. They seem to have found the form again. I was really hoping the mid-season slump would remain that way.
Yeah, same.
That was sort of my tip to miss the finals, miss the top eight, but looks like they're bouncing back hard.
Look, in terms of the ladder predictors that I've done, I have them just in or just out, depending on a couple of games, and this one was an important one for them. So they're getting closer to making that eight for me. Um, Otherwise, yeah, Stewart in the midfield. I'm not sure if you got to see much of that, but that was interesting. It's been something they've run for 2 weeks now, so
Yeah, I saw
I'm
it
liking
last
it.
week against Essendon.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. I think it's interesting, something to run with. Um, Look, moving on to the next game, we had two games on roughly the same time. We had Freo Richmond and then GWS Carlton. I was watching a little bit of Freo Richmond at the start when it looked like Carlton was going to dominate from that first quarter. And then likewise, Fremantle looked like they kind of had it fairly easily sewn up. So I switched back just as GWS was coming back into it, and from there it was quite the interesting match. What about you, mate? Did you watch this match?
No, I couldn't watch either game. I was out
Oh,
for
you
dinner
did.
on Saturday night. It was
Oh, you missed a good one.
the GWS game was on the big screen at the pub, but I
Yep.
couldn't see much of it.
Fair. Well, it was the highest scoring opening half in 2024 from both sides. They scored 126, so 20 goals, six. And it was, yeah, the tale of two quarters, realistically. 8 goals, 4-3-1 in the first, and Carlton was up. And then it was 10-2 to 10-4. Carlton still remained 2 points up at half time. From there, it was pretty much all Greater Western Sydney. I mean, Carlton fought back in the last towards the second half of the last quarter, but didn't really get it done. In fact, this was the biggest deficit overcome by GWS at 39 points. The next one was 35 against Western Bulldogs in round 20 last year.
That's a stat.
Yeah, interesting game. It was very back and forth, and yeah, good one to watch as opposed to say the Freo Richmond one. I did get to see a few little highlights here and there. Had a stream on in the background that was Freo Richmond. So anytime something interesting happened, I got to switch over pretty quick. But yeah, it was the tale of Tracy just kicking heaps of goals and then Bolton snagging a few really good ones. Richmond's first time in 18th spot since there's been 18 teams as well. So yeah, another interesting little stat there. Moving on, mate. I think it's time for Sharon Shenanigans.
Have a look at this. Great shot of something not so good. Bang!
So for this week's Sharon Shenanigan, we have not just one banner, but two banners. We had the Tigers banner. It was introed pretty funnily. They said it was an interesting design. It was mauled by a tiger in its design, but absolutely shocking. Just held up by
Destroyed.
yeah, like the crepe paper barely held it up. The other one you mentioned was the Collingwood one. Misspelling Isaac's name last week. They apologised this week.
Sorry, Isaac.
Yeah, exactly. So that's nice. That's nice of them. Otherwise, we'll get on to the next games. Actually, before that, we have our unsung hero.
The first to pitch in are those unsung heroes.
With this week being a massive upset from North, do you want to announce our hero, mate?
Yeah, who do we go through North? I forgot.
I think
Charlie Comden. Charlie
yeah, I was
Comden.
going to say. I was going to say he's been killing it. His move to defence has been a Clarko masterstroke, and he's coming up good. Honestly,
Yeah, sorry, I thought you claimed that one. I was going to throw up Tom McDonald from Melbourne playing in defence. He's had a
okay,
solid game down back.
he has too. In fact, we were two good defenders that sometimes don't get their praise. So
Tom
and
McDonald trying to get a spot back in defence. It's been a long time.
he's been a swingman for a little while now. He's done reasonable at both ends for his career. So yeah, good on him. Otherwise, mate, yeah, it's time to get into the next match. We had Melbourne versus West Coast, and I watched the first 20 odd minutes, and then I did a Bunnings run because it's a new house and I need some things from Bunnings, so didn't see much more. Yeah, not a great game to watch. I watched a little bit before turning on the Saints match. Did you get a chance, mate?
I missed this one.
No, look, honestly, you didn't miss much.
Yeah.
Not a game worth watching. Yeah, look, otherwise, we'll quickly go through it. Gawn did his ankle, Pickett hurt his finger. McGovern, he's got a rib/lung problem.
What's wrong with Gawn's ankle?
He went off. I think it was a marking contest. He came down awkwardly, so yeah, not the greatest there. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean,
Got
what do they
subbed
do
as
without
well.
Gawn?
I know.
Yeah, if he
Especially-
misses, what do they do?
Especially without Petrarca and like Oliver's pretty much not there.
Yeah, don't know if we can really count Oliver's. Yeah, he's not the same this year. Good stuff from the youngsters though. Good from Van Rooyen.
Did you see the Adam Simpson controversy?
What about it?
There's some leaked text messages from some players saying they want him gone. Apparently.
Oh wow! No, yeah. I did not see that.
Not sure which players, but it'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you trolled a few of the boards, I'm sure there's some suggestions out there. But yeah, no, I did not hear about that. That's quite interesting. You'd think he'd at least see out the year. There's no point in getting rid of him early, in my opinion.
I would have thought he stays at this point. Like, surely it's just a small minority.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
I,
I
I
wouldn't
kind
be
of
very
agree.
happy if I was the last player on a list and the last club in the competition. Like
That's very
no
true.
wonder people are disgruntled.
Yeah, that's very true. But look, they're starting to go places. So hopefully, any sort of disgruntled employees walk out the door and they work their way up the ladder. Moving on to the probably what I mean, I'm a Saints fan, but upset of the round, win of the week. St Kilda versus the Swans. Saints got up, which was a shock to I think anybody that would have tipped at all this week. St Kilda gets up 84-82. Sydney is one of I think 6 teams ever to lose by 1 point one week and then 2 points the next week. I don't believe any team has ever lost by 1 point, then 2 points, then 3 points. But little sneak peek, I'm backing North in to win by 3. So
North by
um,
3, yes.
North by 3 to get this new
Sounds
stat up and
plausible.
running. But no, really great game by St Kilda. I think it was Phillipou's best. 26 disposals, 1 goal, one. Um, yeah, I suppose. What are your takeaways, mate?
Yeah, completely agree, man. Phillipou was insane. His last quarter, he really just put you on the shoulders,
Yep,
showed what he
12
can be.
disposals, few marks. Yeah, he's spent a few weeks in the twos, and it's good to see him back. Really showed why he kind of needed a little spell, in my opinion. He came back with I suppose the confidence that you kind of wanted to see from him, that he kind of had from when he was drafted, right? So
Have you seen his positional stats? Like, was he spending much time in the guts, or was it?
it was majority of guts. I think he had the most clearances for St Kilda. I believe it was 5, which was equal highest for the match. It might be 6. I'd have to double check. He did have the highest score involvements at 10. So yeah, in good game, really good game from him. And
He had 5 clearances, the most for St Kilda. Rowbottom
yeah,
had 6 for Sydney.
okay, yep. So yeah, it's one of those ones where he's come into his own if he can keep playing like that and in the guts. And Kilda need somebody to help out Steely, and maybe Crouch can get back before the end of the season, and kind of they can start developing a little bit of a rotation with Windy. And yeah, see how it goes from there. It's just good to see as a Saints fan. Swans, a little bit to worry about. What are your thoughts? Anything to worry there?
I'll be worried if they lose next week to North Melbourne. That'd be much more of a panic stations then. But no, I don't think anything to worry about.
Yeah,
They're just
fair.
showing they're not the number one. Like they are number one, but they're not like as far ahead as everyone was starting to think.
Yeah, and it's seeming like that's the case. Look, let's get on to the final match of the round: Brisbane versus Adelaide. Interesting match. Brisbane kind of looked like they had it for majority of the game, and then Adelaide turned it on a little bit in the fourth. Thought there might be a comeback brewing, but it didn't eventuate. Did you get much chance to view? What were your thoughts of the match, mate?
I didn't get to watch this one. I finished up the Sydney Kilda game and then went and made dinner.
Yep,
It
something I need to get
yeah.
to still. But yeah, otherwise, no, interesting match. What are your kind of thoughts on the outcome?
I think Brisbane's just about to be like I know it's going to rip Fremantle off, but Brisbane are the best team in it. Maybe like they're coming fast and hard.
They are definitely. It's a lot. It's something that I was kind of saying a few weeks ago. I think Sydney, Brisbane, maybe the doggies if they could pull it all together. Are starting to show some signs. That they might be able to get it done. I mean, Sydney's been showing signs for weeks now, but
Look,
there's a few other sides now.
there's a pretty good chance by the end of the next weekend, Brisbane's in the top 4. And if
Yep.
they're in the top 4, like, can you say they're not premiership favourites? Like, who's better than them in the top 4? I think you could make an argument for Sydney, and that's probably it.
Yeah, tend to agree. I don't know if Carlton is really in that sort of level. As much as I'm sure Carlton fans kind of think they're pretty close, if not in there.
That
But
they did
Freo's
get within a goal in a prelim final with them, so I wouldn't say they're that far off.
They're not far off, but they feel one step below at the moment, and kind of with the loss this week as well to GWS, it does kind of open that bracket a little bit. Look, it's an interesting ladder. We kind of should look at wrapping up, I suppose. Yeah, at the top we've got Essendon still in top four, 42 points equal with Freo. We've got Collingwood and Melbourne equal with the Giants on 36, sitting at eighth. Mate, if we're going to look at that sort of 36, 32 point area, who makes it, who misses out?
It's tough. You can't rule Collingwood out yet. Surely they'd bounce back and they'll make it. But who comes out? Who comes out? That's a tough question too. Like, it's so tight.
Yeah, I mean,
Obviously, I think Essendon's the most likely, but I don't want to say that because I'm a Essendon fan.
I think that somewhere between Freo, Essendon, Geelong, and Port, for me, there's one or two of them that's going to slip. It's just so congested with points that it doesn't take much to slip. So, yeah, for me, one of those four is kind of at least going to go, maybe two. But yeah, let's get into the next week's tips, mate. We'll skip the All Australian stuff for now. And yeah, Collingwood Geelong next Friday night. What are your thoughts? Who's getting up?
I've tipped Collingwood, but it's going to be a cracker of a game, I think. Like this, if Collingwood lose, they really do lose touch with the game.
Definitely, and I think this is one of those ones that I said with Geelong earlier. They need to win it if they're gonna be sticking around. So yeah, I've gone Geelong, just because I think that the Pies might have a few too many injuries at the moment, but could go either way. Hawks
Really
versus
could go either way.
Freo, mate. Who do you think's gonna win?
I've gone Hawthorn, and I don't feel comfortable with that pick at all. I think it's.
Yeah, I've gone same, and I'm still
I don't,
iffy.
can Hawthorn afford to lose it?
No, but also Freo kind of can't either. I don't think either
Freo
team's.
can't from a top four perspective. They definitely can from a top eight perspective.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, there's 6 points between them and 10th. So
Yeah,
yes
that
and
is
no.
true.
So for me, it's a tough one, and I don't know who to call. I've gone Hawks just, but I don't know. Sydney versus North. This is one I said earlier. I think Sydney's stumbling a little bit, and I think North is just in a position where they might just catch them slipping, and I'm going to give North the 3-point win. I'm guessing you're not thinking the same. What's your thoughts, mate?
I agree with everything you said, but yeah, I'm not tipping North Melbourne. I'm definitely tipping Sydney.
Yeah,
I
and
wouldn't be
that's
upset if I didn't tip North and they won. You know what I mean?
yeah, of course, of course. Moving on to one that I don't know if we're in a 100% agreement here, but it's Carlton West Bulldogs. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go the Blues. What are your thoughts, mate?
My thoughts are it fully depends on Liam Jones. I'm not sure what his injury is. I haven't really found anything on it. I haven't really looked, but if he's out, they can't beat them, surely.
It'll be tougher, yeah. Um, if not, no, impossible. Otherwise, we've got St Kilda versus Adelaide over in Adelaide. What's your thoughts, mate? St Kilda keep going or not?
Yeah, I've tipped the St Kilda. I think
Yeah,
Phillipou can't be stopped now.
that's it. Well, I believe he is an Adelaide man, so maybe he goes to his home state and shows out again. So I've tipped the Saints as well. Moving on to Melbourne Essendon, I've gone Essendon to get the job done, mate. Do you think your boys are going to do it?
Yeah, I hope so. Need another win. Solid one on the road. Like away game against Melbourne.
It'll be a good one. I think Melbourne are in the position where they're hot and cold, and they were hot this week, so it might be cold next week. We've got Suns versus Port. Hard one to pick for me. I'm going Suns because they're so good at home. What's your thoughts, mate?
I've gone Port. I think this might be the end. I reckon the Suns might sack Dimmer. I reckon he's been around too long.
Yeah, yeah. He's a fake Sun supporter, mate.
Yeah.
No, he's yeah. It could be an interesting one. Hinkley's starting to get his team working a little bit again, so maybe they can get it done. Get that hoodoo off the Suns' home ground. Then we've got Richmond versus the Giants. I'm not tipping an upset, so I think the Giants get it done. What about yourself, mate?
Yeah, I don't think Richmond can win this.
I'd be
Are they
stunned.
motivated to get off the bottom of the ladder, though? Could be.
Are they? I mean, at this point, yeah, maybe. I mean, I believe North play. Is it Richmond in a couple of weeks? I think that's coming
I
up.
think it's like round 21. From what I can't. I think I heard that somewhere, but I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I'm trying to double check now. Yeah, okay, it is 21. So yeah, look, I mean that for me is probably the battle of the cup, you know, the Spoon Cup.
It
So,
sounds like you don't really believe Sydney's going to beat Kangaroos this week, or Kangaroos will beat Sydney this week.
or I believe Richmond's going to get a win in between. One of the
Oh
two.
yeah.
But no, I think either way it'll be tough to get it done for North. But yeah, that's the weekly wrap, mate. Thank you for coming on and giving me the kick up the behind to get this done again. To everybody that's been patient and come back and viewed, thank you very much. We are working on another one in terms of the SA sort of data side stuff for any new viewers that are here. And yeah, we should be back on it this time next week. Any final thoughts, mate?
Bring on next week. It should be a good weekend of footy.
I think it will be. I think it will be. I'm hoping for another Saints win, though. I'm not super confident.
A
Either
late
way,
start to finals.
look, if we won every match, maybe. So I don't think
Get
we're
out your
mathematically
predictors.
out of it, but yeah, probably not. Anyway, thanks for everybody for watching, and yeah, have a good week. We'll see you this time next one. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks, guys.